Just going to do a quick update today on this issue with the CF crystal and the Mount Sanchi. A couple days ago, there was a collision off Shanghai, China. This ship here, post-collision, was carrying grain from the United States to China, and the other vessel was carrying condensate. I guess it's an ingredient in jet fuel. It's not jet fuel itself. And it was carrying it from Iran to South Korea. And somehow these two crossed paths, and you can see the evidence here on this ship. Only minor damage. I suppose this is minor relative to the other ship, but you can see the nose of this cargo vessel completely burned out and crashed and crumpled. Of course, it hit something much, much heavier and much, much larger than itself, so this probably would be expected. But it brings up a really good point regarding the bogus, fictitious story coming out of the Navy about what happened with the Fitzgerald, and I want to walk you through that. Now, third day, apparently this is a fairly recent photo. This is dated Jan 9, so I guess they're getting the thing under control. I guess one of the things about this particular type of petroleum is that it burns very quickly. Most of it will probably burn out. It won't generate enough heat in the ship to cause it to sink. It may still sink. They're worried about an explosion causing it to sink because it apparently is very soluble, and once it becomes gaseous, it becomes highly flammable. So they've had a blessing of rain over there for this, so it's kind of hampered search efforts, but I don't think that they're going to find, more than likely, any one of the... I guess they found one body, but I'm not sure if they're going to find the crew. Something about this. There's been a couple of articles out that have got me thinking about this. The first thing says, ship tracking data shows the collision occurred in waters not frequently used by large vessels, like tankers, dry bulk carriers, or container ships. Most ships travel either closer to the Chinese coast in the west or more nearby to Japan in the east. Now, the initial report of this put it about 160 miles off the coast of Shanghai, so that would jive with that. So apparently neither one of these vessels were where they were supposed to be to begin with, which is very strange given these large vessels are not open to freelance, so to speak. They usually have very, very specific controlled routes that are controlled by computers and reported by satellites. Insurance companies require this, so it would be very odd to have two ships like this not being where they were supposed to be in an operated in an unsafe manner. This article here talks about something very, very interesting. And it is, here it is. It looks like CF Crystal hit Sanchi and went on with her bow along the tanker's hull, ripping tanks and igniting oil or oil fumes with showers of sparks originated by forceful contact of ship's steel hulls. That's pretty much the impetus for today's video. This was something we covered very early in the issue with the Fitzgerald that was never explained properly. And this is how the fire started. Now, and that's true, anytime you have two pieces of metal hitting each other at any kind of a real angle with any force, you have sparks. You'll see that in automobile collisions as well. You know, and with these ships being orders of magnitude so much bigger than vehicles, you would see sparks. Same, this is Maritime Bulletin. It's actually a Russian Crimean guy, and he's actually a pretty sharp cat. And he talks here about how improbable that this would be already burnt out this fast. It shows evidence of having been burning for days, not for hours, which is strange enough. I mean, I suppose a big enough explosion could probably put that scorching all over the hull on both sides. It shows the list, so I'm assuming it hit the other side of it, the direction of the list. But he asks a lot of good questions here. And what it got me thinking of was the initial contact between the Fitzgerald and the ACX crystal. It says few pics and videos of fire yet available, all made from one direction and from one position. On daylight pics, we see tanker's port side burned out to an extent which implies days of fire, not hours. How could it all, including paint both on hull and superstructure, burn out so completely in relatively very, very short time? Now, I want to take you guys back to this picture. Here's the picture of the Fitzgerald after it hit the ACX crystal. Now, up here in this picture, you can see the paint transfer of the gray onto the crystal. Why is there no black paint transfer onto this ship? And no evidence of sparks of any kind. You'd have think it would have scorched something. There had to be something aboard that ship in that area with that amount of sparks. I mean, even look at the parts that are crumpled. They're shiny. And, I mean, and look at this. This is absolutely no damage, perfectly pristine. Perfectly pristine, even below. Perfectly pristine over here. And then it just looks like basically somebody just took a giant fist and hit it. Because there's no evidence here that... I'm sorry. This looks like something completely different. And we can see what happens when a giant ship like that hits. And we saw how it was crumpled, and we didn't even see barely a dent if we look up here. I mean, we see the railing bent over of the white. Why is there no white paint transfer? I mean, we see... And plus, when you look at the anchor, I know I should have brought this up closer, that anchor right there, you'd think that would have hooked into something, or you'd see paint on it. And when we pulled up and I don't have the video of it, or the picture of it, I should say, of that bulbous bow, we didn't see any evidence. I mean, I know it would have been below the water line, but that was something else I brought up too. I wanted to show you. Now, here's the CF crystal before. And as you can see, here it is, fully loaded. How can we say that? Well, we don't see any red. She's all the way down, none of the red showing, and you can kind of see the bow breaker, the bulbous bow thing up here. Now, here's the crystal when she's empty, and as you can see, it's more of a rounded bulbous bow. But I find, now we haven't seen pictures of the other side of the tanker, but you would think if she was fully loaded with grain, as she says she was, or as it is reported that she was, and she would have punctured her that far below the waterline, as it was alleged with the Fitzgerald, that before igniting, those tanks would have been pouring this stuff out into the sea. There'd be a giant hole below the waterline, near the keel, like they said. I mean, because when you look at... Let's see if I can find it again. I lost the picture, but... It's a... Here you go. I mean, you would think that this type of an event, especially below the waterline, as you can see here, there is red paint on this ship. It's just not visible. That bow... bulbous bow thing would be way down here, that it would have punctured her, and this thing would be pouring gallons and gallons and gallons of this crap out into the sea. But as of reports right now, they don't have any evidence of that. That it's all burning off the top. So once again, in the same area, exact same area that all of this went down, we have a very, very strange, inexplicable set of circumstances regarding a ship named the Crystal and some kind of collision that has resulted, at least here it's going to look like, being in the death of over 30 men. And the players involved here aren't exactly obscure. We have China, we have the US, we have South Korea, and we have Iran. The two destinations and the two ports they left from. So anyway, 10 minutes. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate all the support. Like, share, subscribe. We will see you next time. Thank you.